Greetings, fashionistas and style enthusiasts. Welcome to the House of Vanity, where we converse and explore all things fashion. Fashion is everywhere in cinema, music, politics, economics, visual arts, sociology, psychology, and sports. She has already mastered everything. Fashion feels like that cool girl that is everywhere. She drinks Italian cocktails in the best bars in Paris, is mysterious, wears straight jeans, and wears Andiamos from Bottega Veneta. Fashion knows a lot about networking. No matter where, she will be there. No boundaries. And her newest relationship is with architecture. I know it might seem a little strange, right? But I warn you that this relationship is not new. The world of architecture and high fashion may seem distant, but in recent years, these two industries have developed a pure synergy. The two have a lot of things in common. Together, they represent much more than mere aesthetics. They created innovative ideas and influenced each other. Fashion and architecture are changing the way we see designs. Both judge very well what is innovative and what is not. And both industries are growing a lot in the recent years. The architecture industry is forecast to grow 5% from 2022 to 2032, faster than any media of all occupations. Around 8,200 vacancies for architects are projected each year. As for fashion, we don't need to say much. There are so many new designers, entrepreneurs, journalists, and professionals everywhere. For the fashion market, research predicts that revenue will reach a US $770.90 billion in 2024, and the numbers of consumers is expected to reach 2.8 billion users by 2029. Today, many fashion designers are taking inspiration from architecture to create their collections by J.W. Anderson and Jacquemies. The architecture is already very familiar, but you must be wondering, how did this start? How did architecture become part of fashion? So, throughout history, one industry has often influenced the other. In ancient civilization, the design of large buildings influenced the draping of clothing, and the use of ornamentation influenced fabric patterns. On the other hand, clothes with angular cuts inspired the detailing of architectural elements. Look at the Balenciaga and Dior from 1950. We know that fashion tends to use shapes and angles. This relationship strengthened even in the 20th century. That time, fashion and architecture sought beauty and expression. Both architects and fashion designers had the same goal: create stunning designs that reflect the emotion and capture the vision of the times. In architecture, buildings tell about the history and culture of a place, while in fashion, clothing can tell stories about the cultural and social trends of the time. Looking back through history, architectural styles like Art Deco, Bauhaus, and Gothic Revival have influenced fashion trends throughout the decades. Remember The Great Gatsby? In the Art Deco 1920s, there was more attention to symmetry and geometric shapes, accompanied by fine materials that give an impression of golden, chic, and extravagant looks. The flapper girl style dominated the area with her androgynous silhouette. She wore sleeveless dresses with a flowing waist made of fox silk and jersey, a look made for the moment. Made for dancing, free and fluid girl, and like Art Deco buildings, completely adorned with beads and geometry. In the middle of the century, modernism came. Until the 1970s, cities were dominated by a minimalist aesthetic, flatter external surfaces, larger windows, and rectangulars in beige, white, and gray. But there was a big contrast in fashion. On the streets, women wore sets and dresses in pink, blue, orange, and pastel yellow. Do you know the costumes of the neighbors in Edward Scissorhands? So, this style predominated along with the mode, an aesthetic from the United Kingdom, which used sober colors with a chic and very modern look for the time. From the 80s onward, they became even more united. For those who are into architecture, it is impossible not to talk about Zaha Hadid, one of the greatest architects in the world and the first woman to receive a Pritzker Prize, the Nobel Prize for architecture. She has made a name for herself in fashion with her collaborations. Throughout her career, she has teamed up with Lacoste, Adidas, and Pharrell Williams and Louis Vuitton. In 2014, she redesigned the Peekaboo model for Fendi. The bag is made from staggered layers of leather like pages in a book, referencing Hadid's futuristic aesthetic. Her collaboration with Brazilian brand Melissa also surprised the public with a striking design, a shoe that looks like it came out of a science fiction movie in the 90s, totally modern and futuristic. Today, fashion designers create clothes that embody the spirit of architectural work. From the Eiffel Tower to the Guggenheim, major tourist attraction influence fashion. The two industries have never been as close as they have been in recent seasons. Jacquemus did this in Capri. The French brand, known for its minimalist and surrealist designs, celebrated its 15th anniversary at an exclusive fashion show at Villas Malaparte. The house was built between 1938 and 1940 by Curzio Malaparte and Alberto Labiria. Located on the Mediterranean cliff, the house is made in an elegant design with simple, well-lifting lines. Very chic and modern. Villa Malaparte managed to capture Jacquemus Summer's aesthetic in the best way, attracting attention on social media. Both disciplines revolve around the human form of experience, from meticulous tailoring in architectural spaces. Designers J.W. Anderson and Peter Yu have been creating industry-inspired mood boards. Loewe's own puzzle bags exudes an architectural atmosphere with its geometric shapes and cutouts. In Peter, we see the influence of structures, angles, and cuts in all his collections, all mixed with his androgynous and monochromic aesthetic. Architecture is no longer alone. It transforms spaces for fashion, whether in retail stores, showcases, high-fashion events, or pop-ups. Fashion designers validate the power of architecture to elevate the brand's experience. A choice can transform consumers' emotions. More and more brands are choosing memorable locations to create a connection with their consumers. Stronger than e-commerce, physical stores gain new shapes and decorations to captivate the public. Today, luxury fashion houses commission renowned architects to design stores that reflect their brand identity. Stores become symbols of the brand, at the same time as immersive spaces designed to engage customers. At that moment, luxury becomes palpable and totally visible. The Yves Saint Laurent major store that opened last year on the Champs-Élysées in Paris illustrated this very well. Minimalist, sober, and chic. It speaks volumes about who the YSL woman is because of its architecture. In haute couture, the designer's work is even more similar to architecture. It goes far beyond fabrics. Techniques, structures, angles are used here, as well as in buildings, bridges, and historic spaces. Everything must be thought out carefully. The designer defines the structured lines of a tailored blazer, just as the lines of a modernist buildings are designed by an architect. Let's think about Giorgio Armani suits and Balenciaga silhouettes. The silhouettes not only dictates how the clothes fit to the model's body, but also how it infiltrates with the surrounding of the space. Just as architects use materials to construct buildings, designers use fabrics as their building blocks. The choice of fabric changes everything. Jeans stiffens to fit, and the silk provides fluidity. Just as fashion manipulates fashion, architecture brings sensations that don't exist. Brilliant! In addition to design, they do well when it comes to sustainability. The environmental impact in construction and the fashion industry raises concerns, which leads designers to increasingly seek ecological solutions and materials. Sustainability is key today, so much so that architects have been incorporating technologies and designing in new structures. Fashion isn't left behind either. As we know, designers have been experimenting with sustainability fabrics, recycling materials, and acquiring values for circulating movements. Loewe, Stella McCartney, and Ghani, they are all racing towards sustainability. The relationship between architecture and high fashion is a real thing now. We will see them together more and more, whether in the Loewe Fall, Winter, and Pret-a-Porter collection or in the pop-up stores in the Mediterranean. Architecture is important to make the fashion experience happen. What would parades be without a striking location? Today, the environment's dialogue with the catwalk. From Jacquemus to classic Chanel, all luxury brands depend on the environments they are in to communicate their stories. What would a collection be without its background? It completely changes the point of view. Looking at the resort collections, designers who leave their cities for the world, with collections always inspired by the location of the show. Dior in Scotland, Louis Vuitton in Barcelona, or Chanel in Los Angeles. It doesn't matter. Architecture is everything. What do you think? We are curious to know your thoughts. Comment below. Well, that's all for us today. As we bid farewell, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay stylish, stay chic. XOXO, House of Vanity.